We are seeing just a midnight massacre basically take place at MSNBC. Joy Reid is out. Katie Phang is out. Alex Wagner has lost her show. Just a big shakeup, the network is calling it. We're going to shake things up because obviously whatever the hell we've been doing for the last 4 years doesn't work. I don't know that what they've done solves any problems though, because that's not what the problems were. So what do you think about this? I mean, you spent decades of your life going on MSNBC, talking, having conversations with both conservative hosts and liberal hosts, and it's a whole different animal these days.
Here's what I see. There was a time. Do you remember the lean in? We're going to lean in.
Yeah.
Well, it was never clear what they were going to lean into. But what they leaned into was believing that because there was a big movement in America to defund the police, because there was a big movement in the George Floyd, that horrible case, and there was this big upcry, because there was a movement in the Me Too movement, okay? There was energy there. So these Nimrods, leadership at MSNBC said, it is a revolution. There is a liberal, progressive revolution taking place. And we're going to lean into that. What they didn't understand was what America was really thinking. You see, they were in a bubble. They were thinking, all these things are telling me that we're in a revolution, and we're going to let Joe Scarborough and Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid and these other folks lead us in this liberal revolution. They had talked themselves into there was this political sea change that was going to be so sustainable that we're going to lean into that and we're going to build our audience around that. But at the same time, Farron, they ignored what was happening right before their eyes. All they had to do was look at numbers.
Yeah, they weren't focused on the economy. They weren't focused on jobs. They weren't focused on the rising cost of pharmaceuticals, things that you used to go on and do segments about when Ed Schultz had a show. Hell, when Tucker Carlson, who I despise, had a show on MSNBC, you went on there frequently. And those are the things you would talk about. You were allowed to bring those things up, and there was sparring, but a lot of times you got Tucker to agree with you, which, was pretty remarkable at the time. That was, he wasn't as far right as he is now, but all of those happened because you had people who were a little more open-minded, but more importantly, like with Ed Schultz, you had people that cared about what they were talking about. It wasn't about, okay, my contract is coming up, I can't wait for a payday. It was, God almighty, I saw this story this morning and I'm pissed off about it. Ed Schultz would call you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be right there with you and hear Ed, Pat, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Have you seen what they have done? I want you on tonight. Come on, you and me. We're going to go after these bastards.
And it's a story about a corporation destroying an ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's a story about a pharmaceutical company that's killing thousands of women all over the country. And you know what? That's what they should have been talking about when they were leaning in.
Yeah.
And instead, it comes down to report the news again.
Yeah.
Report the damn news again. Right now, you have hundreds of women all over this country dying from brain tumors relating to a product called Depo-Provera, which is a birth control, killing them with brain tumors. Have you heard anything on MSNBC about that?
No.
Have you heard about NEC on MSNBC? NEC is where preemie babies are dying from a formula that's being distributed to them. It's killing them. Or PFAS. I could go on forever. Or the latest story on vaping, where they're saying there's no question that vaping is going to kill you.
Yeah. British researchers, a phenomenal study about to be fully published, I think, in a month. It's crazy.
Why don't they do those studies? Why don't they do the studies? Because it's easy to unleash this idiot, Joy Reid, who I think is a complete buffoon. I mean, I know you may disagree with me. I think she's a total buffoon. I've watched her history from the beginning, where she was a homophobe, but she was attacking the homosexual entities, trans entities, and everybody forgot about that. And she was kind of a corporatist. And they bring her on, and I'm scratching my head. What the hell? Where's this woman coming from? She's a buffoon, okay? And so they unleash the buffoons. And the buffoons, the easiest thing for them to talk about is that little shiny thing that's happening today. Trump is doing this. Republicans are doing this. Democrats are doing this. And they're ignoring real news, the kind of stuff that you used to have real journalists talk about. I mean, isn't it significant that hundreds of women, as we speak, are dying from brain tumors from a birth control called Depo-Provera? And these idiots haven't even done a show on it.
Yeah. And look, I will add, Katie Fang is one of the people that is, losing her show. She had a show on the weekends. She, I will say, even though I don't watch cable news, but she was great. I would read a lot of articles that talked about things she would say. Okay. She's a lawyer, very, very smart. Mm-hmm. And her not being on that network, to me, that's a great opportunity because there is a large space in independent media where somebody like her can move into and be hugely successful. Yeah. And I think that's where, a lot of these individuals need to go. Because there are still some good people that work at CNN or MSNBC, or News Nation has a lot of good folks, but cable news in general, left, right, center, doesn't matter. It's not having the impact that they would like to believe it is. Independent media, we've discussed in the past, Midas Touch has surged. That's where these individuals need to go. If you want to have a louder voice, a voice where you can say whatever you want and actually cover stories that matter,
stories that matter. Report the friggin' news
things
again.
You're passionate about.
Report the news again, okay? Yeah. Instead of having these empty-brained talking heads that grab and producers. That's the problem. They've got these producers that can't think beyond the headline story. So the producer gives the story to Rachel Maddow. It's all she has in front of her. It's all she has in front of her. So she tells that story again and again and again. The Russians are coming. Russians are in your bedroom. Look under your bed. The Russians are attacking us. Bullshit. And you look at it and you say, just report the news again, man. Right?
Well, and to me, it's report the news, but report what you're passionate about.
Right.
Report what you know about. There's issues that I don't typically talk about too much. There are things that not necessarily they don't excite me, but that's not my area of expertise.
Yeah, you have your...
There's other people who do a much better job of it, and that is their wheelhouse. They take that. I will go and I will do domestic policy stories. But for these people at MSNBC, listen, if this isn't your passion, which we can tell it's not because we can see you on the air not actually caring about the things you're saying, go do that. If your passion is gardening, go start a gardening YouTube channel with your followers.
Yeah. And it's like when you write a book, write about what you know.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that?
And what you care about and what you're passionate about. But I think the biggest problem with that network and CNN as well, there is no passion.
No.
There is nobody that's out there actually getting outraged by the injustice in the country. Not just outraged about politics. Take it back to Ed. Outraged about the injustice.
Yeah. No, that's a thing of the past. This new person they have putting everybody on the chopping block, if I were a shareholder in NBC, I would be doing high fives. I'd be saying, save me, save the money I have invested in here because this MSNBC is a loser and you're not going to change its brand overnight. This is going to be a long haul to change the brand, both on MSNBC and CNN.